how do I go about asking people for a letter of recommendation? My line, which I am really proud of, I think that it's kind of crafty. It's like maybe a little bit deceivious, but what are lawyers? I would go with, I'm not asking you right now, but I'm asking you if in the near future I might be able to get a letter of recommendation from you. I really enjoyed, I got an A in your class. You might not remember me. I got an A in your class 5 years ago. I really enjoyed it, and I thought you might be the perfect person to write me a letter. Or I've really enjoyed working with you. You know, no pressure. Doesn't have to be right away, but in the future, is that okay if I ask you for a letter of recommendation? And then they go, yeah, of course, yes. And then you go, oh, good. All right, well, yeah. And then you just go immediately fill out the form on LSAT and send them the letter, the request, so that they'll actually do it for you. Professors are totally used to doing letters of recommendation. I mean, that's part of the job. It's professors, even a professor literally from 10 years ago who there's no way in hell they remember you. You got an A, though, in one or more of their classes. Otherwise, why are you asking that professor? You got an A in one or more of their classes, and you say, hey, I really enjoyed your class back in fall of 2011. I got an A in your such and such class. Can you write me this letter? Will you write this letter for me down the road somewhere? And they'll say yes, and then you fill out the form, and then you probably are going to have to like follow up with them. I would not offer to draft it. Frequently people will say, oh, absolutely, why don't you go ahead and draft it? It's kind of nice when they do that. It's also a really hard thing to do, to write about yourself in the third person. But sometimes that's what you've got to do to get a letter from a busy, especially a boss. You might have to do that. But I would never offer. That seems really weird to me. I also would not send my resume or personal statement unless they specifically asked. I think the risk about if you send them, like for example, what if you sent both of your recommenders your personal statement? I think the risk is that both of the recommenders are going to end up copying what you said in your personal statement. Even if one of your recommenders copies what you said in your personal statement, well then now your whole application is like one note. I mean, ideally, you're choosing somebody who likes you and knows you well. They probably were giving you a grade, and it could be a graduate teaching assistant. That's totally fine as long as they gave you a grade, graded your work, or a boss. Those are the best ones. Clients can be good too, especially if you have your own business. You might want to have a client. I could ask you guys to write me a letter of recommendation. I think that would be actually probably fair. But it has to be somebody who knows you well and was evaluating your work in some capacity. And if you ask nicely, it shouldn't be any problem at all.